At its height, the Roman Empire was one of the largest and most powerful civilizations the world had ever seen. It controlled a vast amount of land, stretching from the deserts of Egypt to the green hills of England, from the Atlantic coast of Spain to the rivers of modern-day Iraq. Its armies were unmatched. Its cities were full of grand buildings and bustling markets. And its government was a complex machine that could manage millions of people spread across 3 continents. From the outside, Rome seemed unstoppable. For hundreds of years, it had defeated every enemy, built roads and aqueducts that still stand today, and created laws that influenced the world for centuries. People living under Roman rule might have believed it would last forever. But today, the Roman Empire is only a memory, its once mighty power gone. So, what happened? Did it meet an enemy too strong? Was it torn apart by civil war? Or did it simply try to rule more land than any government could handle? The truth is, it wasn't just one reason. The fall of Rome was a slow, complicated process that took hundreds of years. To understand it, we have to go back to the beginning, to a time when Rome wasn't even an empire at all. From republic to empire. Rome started out as a monarchy, ruled by kings. But eventually, the people grew tired of royal rule and replaced it with a republic, a government where power was shared among elected officials. The republic worked well for a time, and Rome began to expand its territory, defeating rival cities and conquering nearby lands. However, the republic was not perfect. Political tensions often ran high, and powerful generals sometimes used their armies to influence politics. The people wanted stronger leadership, and one man was ready to provide it: Julius Caesar. Caesar was a brilliant general who won many battles. He was loved by the common people for his generosity and reforms, but the Senate Rome's political elite feared he was becoming too powerful. In 44 BCE, Caesar was appointed dictator for life. That title alarmed his rivals. A group of senators assassinated him, hoping to protect the republic. Instead, his death plunged Rome into chaos. Civil wars broke out as different leaders fought for control. Eventually, Caesar's adopted son, Octavian, emerged victorious. He defeated his rivals, including the famous Queen Cleopatra of Egypt, and became the sole ruler of Rome. The Senate gave him the title Augustus and allowed him to rule for life. With Augustus, the Republic became an empire, and Rome now had its first emperor. The age of expansion. Under Augustus and his successors, Rome expanded aggressively. The empire stretched across much of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Italy remained the heart of the empire, but conquered lands were organized into provinces, each run by a governor. As long as these provinces paid taxes and didn't rebel, Rome allowed them some local freedoms. This system worked well enough to maintain stability, and for about 200 years, the empire enjoyed a period of peace and prosperity known as the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. But peace on the surface didn't mean there were no problems. Beneath the calm, tensions were building. The rise of Christianity and religious tensions. In the 1st century CE, a new religion began to spread: Christianity. It grew out of the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth, a Jewish teacher who was executed by Roman authorities. At first, Christians were a small group, and the empire saw them as a threat because they refused to worship Rome's traditional gods. The Romans valued loyalty to the state religion, which included gods like Jupiter and Mars. Early Christians were sometimes persecuted, but the religion kept growing. Rome's system of government worked best with strong, capable emperors, but that wasn't always the case. By the year 177 CE, Rome's luck had run out. Commodus, and the beginning of decline. In 177 CE, Commodus, the son of Emperor Marcus Aurelius, became emperor at just 15 years old. He was young, arrogant, and more interested in personal glory than running the empire. He loved gladiator games so much that he fought in them himself, fights that were staged so he could win. His erratic rule weakened Rome's political stability. After 15 years, Commodus was assassinated in his bath. His death in 192 CE sparked a year of chaos known as the Year of the Five Emperors, where multiple men claimed the throne and were quickly overthrown or killed. This instability made the empire look vulnerable, and outsiders began to take notice. Crisis of the 3rd century. From 235 to 284 CE, Rome went through what historians call the crisis of the 3rd century. In less than 50 years, the empire had more than 20 emperors, most of them murdered or overthrown. Civil wars broke out, the economy suffered, and provinces began to break away. Two major breakaway states were the Gallic Empire in the west and the Palmyrene Empire in the east. Rome seemed on the verge of total collapse. Aurelian, Diocletian, and Constantine. Rome's fortunes changed when Aurelian became emperor in 270 CE. He defeated the breakaway empires, strengthened Rome's borders, and improved the economy. But his reign was short, just 5 years. Then came Diocletian, who ruled for 20 years. He reorganized the government and created regional administrations to better control the vast empire. Remarkably, he voluntarily retired the first Roman emperor to do so. After Diocletian, Constantine the Great took power. He introduced a new currency, restructured the army, and most importantly, converted to Christianity. This single decision would forever change Europe's history. Constantine also founded a new capital in the east, Constantinople, which would later become the heart of the Byzantine Empire. Division of the empire. When Constantine died in 337 CE, his sons fought for power. The empire became unstable again, and by 395 CE, it was permanently divided into the Western Roman Empire, based in Rome, and the Eastern Roman Empire, based in Constantinople. The Eastern Empire would survive for another 1,000 years as the Byzantine Empire. The Western Empire, however, was about to face its darkest days. Barbarian pressures. The biggest threat came from outside the Huns. These fierce nomadic warriors invaded Europe, pushing other tribes like the Goths into Roman lands. At first, the Goths came as refugees, seeking protection. But corrupt Roman officials exploited them, and resentment grew. Eventually, the Goths rebelled, defeating a Roman army at the Battle of Adrianople in 378 CE, a crushing blow that showed Rome was no longer invincible. The slow collapse. Over the next 100 years, the Western Roman Empire lost territory piece by piece. Armies were often filled with foreign mercenaries who had little loyalty to Rome. Civil wars and poor leadership made things worse. In 410 CE, Rome itself was sacked by the Visigoths. The first time in nearly 800 years, the city had fallen to an enemy. By the mid-5th century, the empire was little more than Italy and a few scattered provinces. The end of the Western Roman Empire. In 476 CE, a Germanic leader named Odoacer deposed the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus. Surprisingly, Odoacer spared his life and sent him into comfortable retirement. The Roman Senate recognized the authority of the Eastern Emperor in Constantinople, marking the official end of the Western Roman Empire. The legacy of Rome. The empire was gone, but its influence lived on. The Roman Catholic Church became the most powerful institution in Europe, preserving much of Rome's culture, language, and law. For centuries, kings and rulers would try to recreate the glory of Rome, but none would truly match its scale and impact. Rome didn't fall overnight. It declined over centuries due to military weakness, political instability, economic troubles, and the inability to adapt to changing times. It remains one of the greatest stories in human history, a reminder that even the mightiest empires are not immortal.